Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Karina and today I get to share all about ROMCOM SWOONATHON Round 3. So in case you're unfamiliar, I am one of the hosts of the Swoony Readers, which is a romance-focused book club that I co-host alongside my bestie KAYLANI. And every month we come together to read a romance book, have some reading sprints, and participate in a live show discussion. And during the discussion, we are able to give away a copy of the next month's book club pick. And I'm so excited to share that ROMCOM SWOONATHON is back for yet another round. ROMCOM SWOONATHON is a month-long readathon that the Swoony Readers kind of puts on every February. And I'm so happy that this is going to be our third year putting this together. And what we do is we take some inspiration from our favorite rom-com movies and we create a bingo board full of bookish and non-bookish prompts inspired by those movies and even our monthly book club pick. I wanted to share some of the movies that were given to us by our Swoony Readers during our December weekend event. We did ask for some of your favorites and the movies we picked were Clueless, 10 Things I Hate About You, Notting Hill, and Miss Congeniality. Before we get talking about all the bingo prompts, let's go ahead and talk about some of the key dates and things we have going on throughout the month. So the amazing thing is that the month starts on a Sunday and ends on a Saturday. We have a full month for reading sprints, some movie watches, lots of reading, and even some giveaways at the end. On February 1st, we're going to be kicking things off with a round of reading sprints on KAYLANI's channel at 11 a.m. EST. And throughout the month, every Saturday, we're going to be having reading sprints divided between both of our channels, and those will all start at 11 a.m. EST as well. So I already told you which movies helped us curate the bingo board for this round, and I'm so excited because we're going to be watching two of them. The first one we're going to watch is Clueless, and we're going to watch that one on February 13th, which is a Friday. The next movie we're going to watch on Friday, February 27th, is going to be Notting Hill. I'm excited because I haven't watched this one myself, but I've heard such amazing things and I have really high hopes that I'm gonna love it. The last date to take note of is for the monthly book discussion, and that's gonna happen here on my channel at 7 p.m. EST on February the 24th. Our monthly book for February is Hear My Heart by Tay Monet. I am just so obsessed with this cover. She's beautiful, she's gorgeous. Of course, you know we have to honor Black History Month with an author of color and characters of color, so I'm so excited to be jumping into this one with you guys. So in this story, we're following a deaf woman named Akira who finds love with a man named Rome, but when tragedy strikes, she finds herself torn between commitment and these new feelings. It sounds like this one does have some emotional undertones, but I'm so excited. This one is available on KU and has an audiobook. I hope you are able to join us and hopefully we all find some swoon-worthy moments in here. For this readathon, we also created some fun graphics that you can use in your Instagram stories. So I'm going to share them on the screen so that you can take a look and kind of know what to expect. You'll find these templates on our Instagram at the Swoony Readers, as well as in our Discord. So make sure you're following us on Instagram and feel free to join us over in the Discord because that's also where we're going to be having our movie watch parties. Just an extra added layer of the Swoony Readers community, and we just have so much fun together. If you do decide to use the graphics, please tag the Swoony Readers so that we can share them to our stories and also so we can see all the progress that you're making throughout the month. Now I do want to make the disclosure that even though this readathon and our book club is romance centric, that does not mean you need to fulfill the bingo board or any of the prompts strictly with romance books. Even though some of the prompts on the board, as you'll see, are a little bit romance specific, we did make sure to kind of include prompts that are a little more broad and allow you to kind of fit in different genres. We're not policing this in any way, shape, or form. Feel free to double up, triple up, whatever you need to do in order to get some bingos. Bend, shape, stretch any of these prompts as much as you need to. We just want you to have fun and get some reading in with us. So as I take you through the bingo board and all of the prompts, I'm going to be sharing some books as well. I won't be going over any of these synopses, but I do want to share some books for each prompt to kind of hopefully inspire you to, you know, think outside of the box maybe in some cases, or just inspire you to pick up some of my faves. So let's get into all the fun. I've already told you about the movies and the book that inspired these prompts, so I'm curious to see if you'll be able to pinpoint which movies are in which row. So let's get into it. Okay, first up, we are starting strong with a taboo romance. So of course, this one is a little bit more specific. Maybe it's taboo because your families have opposing magic, like Bring Me Your Midnight. Or maybe he's your boss, like in Heartless. Or maybe he's your college running coach, like Waking Olivia. The next prompt we have is a non-reading prompt, and that is to have a jam session. Now, of course, you can interpret this in any way that you want. I think the goal is to just listen to music. Plain and simple, just put on a song, have a little dance party, whatever you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with. Do what you can to check this prompt off. The next prompt we have is for a school setting. Now this could be an academy, boarding school, even a college. All of those fit the bill. A few books that I can recommend for this prompt are For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and House of Hearts by Skyla Arndt. Our next prompt is pink on the cover. Now this could be a fully pink cover, it could be a little bit of pink on it. Some recommendations I have are Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. Clearly has a fully pink cover. I could also recommend Matchmaking for Psychopaths, which has pink strictly in the text. But another one that I absolutely loved is The View from the Top by Rachel Lacey. So the last prompt in this first row is for female friendships. This one I actually really adore in books, so I'm excited to see what books I need to add to my TBR for what you guys are going to be reading. But personally, I could recommend Death by Cheesecake, which follows the Golden Girls, and of course we all know and love their friendship together. The Other Side of Now has another female friendship. Of course, I'm going to try and make you read one of my favorites, and that is Promise Me Sunshine by Carrot Bestone. Coming down to the second row, we are kicking things off with a non-reading prompt, and that is just for an outdoor activity. You interpret this as you see fit. Anything that is done outdoors, feel free to check that off. So the next prompt we have is for a Grumpy Sunshine. Definitely a really good prompt in my eyes. For this one, I have two romances and a little bit of a mystery. So for Grumpy Sunshine, I could recommend Off the Beaten Path, Forget Me Not, and Happy Medium, which is kind of a paranormal mystery, but definitely has a romance to it as well. The next prompt is absolutely one of my favorites, and that is for fake dating. For this prompt, I could absolutely recommend Make a Scene by Mimi Grace, That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer, and Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. Next up, we have a more romance-specific prompt, and that is to read a sports romance. Again, one of my favorites when it comes to romance tropes or subgenres that I have to recommend are Until I Get You by Claire Contreras, The Prospects by Katie Hoffman, and Mad Love by Willow Astor, which technically the whole entire Single Dad's Playbook series counts, so I had to recommend it. All right, so rounding out the second row, we have an emotional read. And of course, this is gonna be something that you need to kind of cater to your own tastes, but I am gonna try and make you read ones that made me cry. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, My Friends by Frederick Bachman, which I think any Frederick Bachman book could absolutely count for this prompt, and The Wrong Heart by Jennifer Hartman, another author that knows how to make those tears fall. The first prompt in our third row is a book with disability rep. This is a great prompt because I know a lot of us are always trying to diversify our reading. What better way to do that than to ensure we're reading books with some disability rep? The few that I can personally recommend are Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese, which also could count for sports romance, and Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. The next prompt is probably my number one trope, and that is for found family. This one, I have more so authors that I could recommend because I feel like the books that I've read from them personally have found family in them. And the authors that I have to recommend are Frederick Bachman, as I already talked about. My Friends is another good one that could double up here. Catherine Cowles and TJ Klune, because TJ Klune is definitely someone that I turn to when I want something that has a strong found family that I want to care and root for. Definitely some really great options, and hopefully you can find something by each of these authors that you're interested in. So next up we have Read the Group Book, which also kind of doubles as the free space, but of course we hope that you do decide to pick up Hear My Heart alongside us. So next up on the board we have a standalone book. This one obviously is just something that is not part of a series, so I know there are endless options out there, and I'm excited to see which one you decide to use for this prompt. Right, now rounding out this third row, we have Forced Proximity. Books I have to recommend for this specific prompt are Hostile Takeover by Christina C. Jones, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by T.L. Williams, and The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. Starting off strong in this fourth row, we have Romantic Suspense. Now, if you pick up anything from Catherine Cowles, I'm sure it could fit. The one I have which could double as a standalone, is All the Missing Pieces. I could also recommend Ruthless Creatures by J.C. Gessinger, as well as the Darkverse series by Rue Nix. Again, I'm trying to make you read my favorites, so of course I had to slot them in any chance I got. The next prompt on the board is for Female Rage. I love this prompt, I adore it, and most of the times I also love these books. But the few I have to recommend are Mayfly by C.J. Lead, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and of course another favorite of mine, Bury Bones in the Midnight Soil by B.E. Schwab. The next prompt on the board is for a book that involves a competition, which could also double as a trial. A lot of fantasy books these days have a trial aspect to them. Hopefully this one allows you to kind of squeeze a different genre on the board outside of romance. But the few that I have to recommend are The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly, and one of my TBR is Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. So this next prompt is one that you kind of are going to have to take a look at your shelves, what's on your TBR, and find a book with foiling on the cover. Now, if you don't have a foiling on the cover, if it has like a little shiny element to it, or even something that shines, okay, because this is to represent a tiara from one of the movies that I mentioned earlier. So, you know, feel free to kind of bend this prompt as you need to, or just feel free to ask us if you have any questions regarding it, but use what you have and what you can to fulfill this prompt. We're ending off the fourth row with a non-bookish prompt, and that is for self-care. Now this one of course is also open to interpretation, but anything that you would consider as an act of self-care, go ahead and mark this prompt off. So the last row, we're starting off with a bookish book. This one hopefully is not too hard for you to kind of fulfill, but the few that I do have to recommend are The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, 7 Days in June by T.O. Williams, and the one that I have on my TBR that hopefully I might be able to pick up for this prompt is Drawn Together by Juliana Smith. The next prompt we have is for a book with a meet cute. If you pick up a romance book in the month of February, chances are it has a meet cute in it. So this one is hopefully a little bit easier to fulfill, but the few that I do have to recommend are The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. That movie's coming out soon, so it would be a great time to pick this one up. First Time Caller by Miss B.K. Borson, a past Swoony Readers pick, and one that we adored, so definitely a good option if you haven't read it. And then, of course, I had to recommend something by one of my absolute favorite authors, and that is Say You'll Remember Me by Miss Abby Jimenez. The next prompt we have is for a book with celebrities or royals. For this prompt, I think we could all argue that a professional athlete or a prominent figure in society could count as a celebrity. So I think, you know, do what you can to fulfill this prompt. But the books that I have to recommend are The Bromance Book Club by Alyssa K. Adams, Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman, and Real by Miss Kennedy Ryan. All right, and our penultimate prompt on the board is a non-bookish prompt, and that is to take a photo. This one is inspired by a specific movie that we used to make the prompts, and having paparazzi involved, so that was the inspiration behind this one. For any of these non-bookish prompts, and for this one specifically, we're not requiring any sort of proof behind it. For take a photo, you can just keep it close to your heart, like anything that you snap a picture of throughout the month. Again, no need to show us or share with us, but feel free to share if you decide to. But as long as you take a photo throughout the month of February, you can go ahead and mark this one off. And the very last prompt on the board is a fun one, because we're asking you to read a book and check this prompt off that has a gripping tagline. In case you need a little bit further clarification, we're asking for a tagline. So something specific to the book that you're gonna pick up and not an author blurb. Yeah, so like on the cover of Love Theoretically, it has a blurb by Christina Lauren. They're kind of talking about the book and how they felt about it. But a tagline, as shown for We Who Will Die, it says, bow before the god of ruin at the top. Again, this one is a little bit more specific and takes a little bit of research on your part, but I'm really looking forward to what tagline and specifically which books you decide to mark this prompt off. As I stated before, each bingo that you do accrue and submit to us either on Instagram or through our Discord will get you an entry into one of the 2 giveaways we'll be doing at the end of the month. All the entries will be entered into a random spinner wheel, and we'll be choosing 2 winners to receive an Amazon gift card. There are some different ways for you to get a bingo, either diagonally, vertically, horizontally, or using the four corners and the center space. Now, you know that we do love giving back to our community. So at the end of the Hear My Heart discussion, we are going to be giving away a copy of our March's book club pick. And I'm so excited to share that the March selection is Cowboy Casual by Holly Renee. This not only has one of the most beautiful covers, I'm just hoping that the story inside is just as good. So the synopsis says, Blair Monroe is the only woman I've ever loved and the only one I've let break my heart. It's been 10 years since she ran from this town, chasing a life that didn't include the cowboy next door who blurred the line between best friend and something more. Now she's back. Okay, now she's back. It looks like she had a failed engagement and is now hiding out on her grandmother's strawberry farm. You know, they're neighbors now. They have a forced proximity element. And of course, that long hidden spark is about to reignite, and I cannot wait to read this one. Alright guys, that is everything to do with ROMCOM SWOONATHON round 3. I cannot wait for February to come, but of course you'll find KAYLANI, the Swoony Readers Instagram, as well as the Discord, all linked down below. We hope you decide to join us and the amazing community that we have created and are just so thankful for. Let me know down below if you're going to be joining us for some movies, some sprints, and of course, hopefully, a lot of reading to come in February. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today as I went over all of the details for the next round of ROMCOM SWOONATHON. If you're still watching and you want to let me know, leave me any heart emoji for all of the swoony good times we're going to have in the month of February. I hope you have a lovely day, afternoon, or night whenever you're watching, and I'll see you again soon in another video. Until next time.